I'm Ladar Gaveh-Lazi.
And I'm Ziv Kainan.
And welcome to Unicorn TV, where we discuss what's new in the private markets and meet with leading tech companies. Unicorn TV is produced by Symmetry, a provider of secondary liquidity solutions in partnership with ILTV and FinTech TV. And now stay tuned, because coming up on today's show, Unicorn TV sits down with the founder and CEO of Verbit to hear firsthand about the Israeli tech unicorn. And we'll hear how Israel has become a global cyber leader. Unicorn TV is brought to you by Symmetria. Symmetria offers ongoing liquidity management to attract and retain the best talents. Give your team the benefit they desire and deserve, and win the competition over talents with Symmetria. Our first guest, Verbit, has emerged as the leader in the $30 billion transcription industry with its voice AI solutions, simple integrations, and the largest professional captioner workforce in the world. And joining us now with more is Tom Livni, founder and CEO of Verbit. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Verbit. I mean, what exactly is it that you do?
So Verbit is, as you said, like the leader in the voice AI and accessibility solution, and we have vertical specific application around transcription and captioning, if it's in the media space, in the legal space, education space, enterprise space, and growing the numbers of vertical we operate in. And you know, the demand for our solution driven by regulation, so we help people to enjoy verbal content and make it accessible via our AI-powered transcription platform.
Tom, we'd like to hear a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur. I know we met a while ago when we were learning at the IDC.
Reichman University.
Reichman University.
Today it's Reichman University.
Now it's Reichman University. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey, and like where did you start from, and how come like a lawyer, get into this very specific field? This sounds like out of this world.
Yeah, so usually my pitch is I'm a lawyer, no one is perfect, right? Don't hold it against me. This is how I start when I'm talking to investors, etc. But basically, being a lawyer gave me two major things. One, that I work closely with entrepreneurs and realized I don't want to be the legal counsel. I want to be the entrepreneur myself. And the second thing, I saw how much time and how much money we're spending on the transcript of the legal depositions, and it was always late and not accurate. And I found myself sitting down and doing the editing jobs for those transcripts. I was really, really frustrated customer and changed the vendor that we work with every few months. And then I came to myself, say, hey, how there is no technological provider, something more innovative to solve this problem? And then I said, maybe it's the sign that I should go and invent it myself. And I would never imagine that, 5.5 years after we'll be more than 1,000 employees, more than 3,000 customers, raised more than $600 million, and this is like journey and been amazing so far, and we're just getting started. So, it's evolved over time. And then, when I started to dig in about the industry, I realized that the legal vertical is one use case out of many, many others, as I mentioned, creating this $30 billion addressable market. You mentioned that it's going through digital transformation, right? So when investors thinking about which company to invest in, I'm as an investor myself today in 10 funds and more than 20 startups. So when I'm looking, it's where is the digital transformation coming from? And this is what we're doing for this manual professional transcription space. And as I said, just getting started.
So I'm curious, how does the technology actually work?
So what is speech recognition? Speech recognition is an algorithm that's showing you the best guess of what be said based on statistical model, right? This is the AI voice to text. But it's much more than that, because I said it's driven by regulation, so there is a demand for perfect 100% or 99.9% accuracy, that it could be reached only by human, right? So, on one hand, professional transcription being done fully manually. On the other hand, AI is 80-85%, and this is not the accuracy needed. So we have this unique hybrid model that combines the AI we built internally, and basically what gives us the edge that we are customer specific, vertical specific, building the model right? Per customer and getting more data so the accuracy and the automation level is better and more consistent. And then we have a network of 35,000 freelancers from all around the globe that take the automated output, making the correction where needed in order to bring it to the professional 100% accuracy. And every time they're making the corrections, the supervised learning to the speech engine that's get better and better over time and make it, to the customer. And there's a lot of workflow and integration, per vertical, right? So if it's in the education, to integrate to the learning management system, to create the workflow. If it's in the legal, so the case management platform. So we know how to build the application for our customers the way they need.
And the AI is always learning and always improving.
Getting better.
Yeah, we're all teachers of AI, whether we know it or not. I want to ask you, we like to focus this show about the social impact of the project that we do, that we bring. Can you tell us a little bit about the social impact of Verbit?
Yeah, there's plenty of those. So it's interesting, we just launched our core value as a company. So the key one of them is to do good. Right, so think about all the deaf people, right? So if people want to see this show and we don't have it accessible and transcribed and captioned, they won't be able to consume this verbal information. So, and we, as part of our portfolio, we also have, an app that helps to deaf people to communicate on a daily basis, right? If you want to call your mom, so you get a transcript in real time. So there's many application for transcription. And anyway, again, for all the deaf students, we're making the lecture accessible. For other people seeing the larger broadcaster like CNN, Disney, etc. Among Verbit customers, we make their content accessible for all the people that are hearing impaired. So one part of our mission is to make the words more accessible to those people with disabilities.
Incredible technology. Tom Livne, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us
Thank
today.
you.
Pleasure.
And now, Israel and Hong Kong are joining forces in a first and exciting new collaboration on the fintech front. The details in the following report. The Bank of Israel, in collaboration with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub Hong Kong Center, recently announced a joint research on retail central bank digital currency. The collaboration, led by the Bank for International Settlements Innovation Hub Hong Kong Center, called Project Sela, will take a deep dive into cybersecurity issues in the context of retail central bank digital currency. Sela is an ancient Hebrew silver coin and is the Hebrew word for rock, making a reference to Hong Kong's Lion Rock Mountain. The project will study the data security implications of a two-tier retail central bank digital currency architecture, where the intermediaries will have no financial exposure and pioneer methods of rendering it more resilient to cyber attacks. The project is expected to be completed by the end of 2022. Howard Lee, Deputy Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, said the project was not only a milestone, but also marks the first collaboration between Hong Kong and Israel on the fintech front. Israel has emerged as a global leader in cybersecurity, and our next guest, Confidas, is playing a part in helping organizations plan, protect, manage, and adopt a proactive cybersecurity strategy. So joining us now with more is Eli Zilberman-Caspi, co-founder and COO of Confidas. Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
So can you tell us about the work that you do in Confidas?
Yes, sure. First of all, we are operating a cyber war room, which is operative 24/7. And if you have a cyber incident, you call this war room, and we are managing your cybersecurity on a daily basis as well. The second thing that we are doing, we are managing cyber crises, which is when things are going wrong and a cyber crisis occurs. We are the company that gives the incident response. And the third thing that we are doing, we are preparing companies to these kinds of situations in terms of also working with the management, the board of directors, and also with the broad aspect of the organization in order to make sure that it will be operative during cyber incidents.
Eli, and be sure that we're going to ask you about those incidents response that you do. I think that sounds really, really interesting.
Yes.
But first, I want to use, your position as a cybersecurity expert, just asking you, why do you think there's so many cybersecurity startups in Israel and so many cybersecurity technology? If we go to, the usual answer would be, it's the army, but then every country today has like a very strong, cybersecurity department in the army. So what makes us, special that so many technologies came out of Israel?
So it's an interesting question. I think that good ideas and smart people you have probably around the world, most places around the world. But I do think that the two main things that are differentiating us from the others is one, the ecosystem that we have here. It is very supportive, also in terms of culture, in terms of it is, you live in this atmosphere that everybody wants to be entrepreneur, and it affects. The other aspect is that practically there is real support is given to early stages startups, and you can find a lot of accelerators and hubs that you can really grow your startup in. This is one thing. The other thing, I do think that the military service, the army, it's a factor, because it's not only that in the military we are dealing with innovation and new ideas, and it's a ground for these new ideas, but it's also a ground to understand who are the people that you can work with, and what is the value that you are bringing into a startup. And in this term, the going and starting a company, it's like going to a war. It's probably the most hardest thing that you can do.
And what do you do when you go to giants? I understand you have partnership with the giant Zim.
Right.
Those guys, they're traveling. They have those huge ships that
The shipping giant.
they are the shipping giant, worldwide. Shipping cargo. Can you tell us a little bit about the partnership, the work that you do with those guys?
So about 2 years ago, we formulated a subsidiary company named Cyberstar, and we are working with global shipping companies and logistic companies. You can find between those companies Ports of America and Kuehne+Nagel, companies, very large companies around the world. And the unique value that we are giving to these companies, it's the real knowledge that we are gaining from real cyber incidents. We are working with these companies and making sure that they will not be surprised, because as you can do very good protection and detection, but at the end of the day, definitely when it comes to fintech companies, and the cross is on your back as long as it goes to cyber attacks, because you know that the bad people are looking for you specifically, and if they will be persistent, they will be able to penetrate your defense and your monitoring systems, as we do when we are trying to penetrate banks. It will take us a week or so, something like that, and you cannot say that they don't have a defense, right? So, so in this term, they need to be ready to this moment when a cyber attack will happen, and it happens.
Happens quite often, as I understand.
Yes, it happens quite often. It happens even more than what we hear in the news. We hear about big cyber incidents, but most of them it's only at the tip of the iceberg, because most of them you will not hear about them. There are multiple players or kind of attackers that want to attack companies around the world. Some of them are financial, some of them are state-backed, so they have a different motivation. For example, we are meeting Iranian attackers almost on a weekly basis.
Wow.
Yes,
crazy.
And we dealt probably with most of the Iranian parties or teams that are attacking around the world, and especially here in Israel, and it is fascinating to see and to understand what are their motives. The most here in Israel, the most famous one was Sherbit. So this incident, we've managed this incident. The name of the group was Black Shadow. It was the first time that we encountered this group, but we had a good understanding during the incident itself that probably it's Iran, and after a year, it was published that it is Iran standing behind this attack.
Right, it's fascinating. Eli Zilberman Kaspi, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you very much.
And we're back with our next segment, brought to you in collaboration with the Elephant Brokerage. This week, we're looking into eToro, a developer of social trading and investment platform designed to open the global markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. The company's platform helps investors manually invest in instruments across different asset classes and automatically copy the trades of other traders on the platform and access investment portfolios, enabling clients to connect people with expertise in everything from investing in traditional asset classes to cryptocurrencies. And now, Arieli Capital strives to bring a fresh, high-value approach to the technology investment ecosystem. And so joining us now with more is Or Chaviv, a senior partner and head of the innovation arm at Arieli Capital. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So first of all, what can you tell us about Arieli Capital?
Arieli Capital is a very exciting thing happening within the investment ecosystem. It's family offices that are multi-generation investors into technology companies from New York and from Israel that came together with a holistic approach and said that basically technology companies need more than capital to grow. So we basically built an entire ecosystem of innovation platforms to add additional value. You know the famous saying, it takes a village to grow a child. So that's our take on the capital side. It takes a village to grow a technology company.
Sounds great. So can you tell us a little bit about what are you looking for when you're examining a prospect investment?
Sure. So there are the obvious characteristics when you look at a technology company. You want to make sure there's a solid team with the relevant experience to take the company forward. You want to make sure that there is a very big market so you can really have a projected growth for the company. But another thing that is very important for Arieli is the impact. We really want to make sure that these companies are going to do good for the world and help humanity move yet another step forward.
Cool. So impact, team, right? Mm-hmm. And what kind of an investment have you done so far? What is your portfolio comprised of?
So I think that speaking about impact, I would like to start with one of our latest investments into a fund, actually, called NGT, which is an amazing fund for biotech and health. Already made 23 investments, looking to make another 25 investments in the companies that are from that sector. Just closed a $100 million fund with our help as well. And Arieli is going to be a general partner at this amazing fund. And NGT, in addition to doing all these amazing investments in healthcare, which is impact on itself, is actually an incubator, a technology incubator, approved and backed by the Israel Innovation Authority. And they have a secret sauce about unifying and combining the weaker parts or the minority parts of the population, which is basically the underrepresented parts, right? So you have Arab and you have Jewish in Israel, and it's very important to bring together all these communities, basically to make sure we have a secure future for the high-tech sector.
I mean, you mentioned impact and you mentioned, the healthcare industry, but are there any other promising sectors that you're looking into at the moment?
Sure, it's a very good question. Agri-tech and food tech are very strong sectors. The world today is experiencing changing climates. That is affecting yield and productivity of the ground. Many countries that had it good up until now are suffering and are experiencing up to 20% reduction in yield. And I think that we all understand and agree that the first thing we can never give up is food. Right after air, we need food.
By the way, Lidar, I'm carrying with me always this pin that I bought at a UN building in New York, which represent the Sustainable Development Goals. And what you mentioned, which is food security, is one of the pillars of the the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So I think it's very important for investors like yourself to allocate their capital to invest also in projects that advance those SDGs.
For that point exactly, Arieli Capital joined together with an inspiring region and a project called Ramat HaNegev, which represents its regional council, and they have an R&D center focusing on agriculture bordering desert conditions. It's about 60, 70 years old R&D center, so one of the first and most experienced in desert agriculture. And Ramat HaNegev, together with Arieli Capital, formed Frontier, which is the innovation center dedicated to promoting technologies that will be able to help humanity secure the food of the future, even in changing climates.
Back to the basics in food security. Or Haviv, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, and that's it for today's show. I'm Lidal Gavelazi.
And I'm Ziv Kenan.
Be well, and thank you so much for watching.